Well, that's
10
good to
minutes.
know.
Nope. Hey
Yeah.
guys, we're live here. How you doing? It's Renee and I. Let me bring
How's it
us up
going?
here. I'm going to just take off their background. My little trick to make sure that on all platforms, the thumbnail that I want is the first frame, which, like Facebook lets you choose, different platforms let you choose, but not all of them. So, and I multi-cross. So I have a habit of just a tip for anyone, making my first frame what I want the thumbnail to
Big
be
image.
in the event I'm using it in a program that doesn't let me. So how you guys doing?
That's smart.
How's everybody? Very casual here today for
Production.
me. Oh, you're right. You're breaking
Can you
up.
hear me?
I can hear you, but it cuts in and
Horrible.
out. I think we have a delay again, but I'll stop my camera and do all that during the live, and maybe that'll
Okay.
help things out. Lots
Can
of
you hear me?
presentation today, so it's not going to be a lot of us. Yeah, I can hear you. Comment if you can hear
Okay, good.
both me and Renee.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen for the presentation too. So, but just let us know. Everybody and their grandma is online right now with school. I mean, everyone. So school started last week in our district, and I know internet has been crazy around here. But yeah,
Yep.
Okay, cool. Tracy says yes. And it's staticky for me, for you, for Renee, but maybe it's just me. So just comment. We'll see. Let us know what you hear and what you don't.
Yeah, let us know if we can hear both of us. But Monica's back, so Monica's going to handle most of it, guys. So that's good that she's got the good connection.
Yeah, I'm actually just going to stop my camera right now, just to kind of hopefully that eases things up a little bit. But yeah, so this is part 2 of what we did last week, and I'm going to be referencing some of the future or past episodes too, because a lot of things we've done in the last, I'd say, month or so, kind of leading up to they all relate. So I'll mention that as we go. But if you are new and we want to make sure that you're in the right place, who we help here at 22 Social, is this the right place for you to be right now? Well, if any of these apply to you, then you are in the right place, and keep on watching. You're passionate about both the products or services you provide and the people that you help. You're truly doing what you love, helping others. And you're creating something you want to create online. So it's an online business. It's going to earn you significant monthly income, something that's really going to allow you to live a desired lifestyle and ultimately to stop trading time for money. So we talk about ways to do that, and ultimately, having a place where you can build something that's going to eventually lead to a community that's going to build meaningful relationships, allow you to reach more people, help more people, and really grow your business on a social level, scale it to ultimately reach more people that you wouldn't have otherwise, and really 10x, 100x this business. And you know that you've got to put in the time and the work. So willing to do that, willing to do what it takes to create the dream business so that you can experience lasting success and long-term success and have that fulfillment and that desired lifestyle you want that's going to stay, something that will work and continue to work for you. So, in order to do these things, we like to guide, use a blueprint. We call ours the Dream Builder Blueprint. And it's a set of, guides, building blocks, things that you can work on that those who are having success with their online businesses are kind of following. So the basic bottom of this pyramid here, or this triangle, leveling up from the bottom, is that dream. What is that? You want to design your dream lifestyle and the business that's going to fund that. So taking a look, what that is, that's really what we're, if you don't know why you're doing this and why you're getting up every morning, you're not going to get as successful as someone who has that figured out. And what is it that, what's your expertise? What are you good at, and who needs your help? So what is it that you deliver, and who is the ideal recipient of whatever transformation you're offering? Something you can promise and commit to deliver and give results to somebody who needs them. Who's that ideal client? So figuring that out, and then inviting people to take you up on your offers. Reach out to either, existing maybe members or clients or past members, but a trusting prospect, somebody that or that maybe you've met or you've heard of, that needs results and you have a solution for them. Reach out to them, let them know what it is, and invite them to take you up on it. whether it's your membership, your one-on-one, of course, you're putting out something like that. But doing so will allow you to really, in the next stage of nurture, will allow you to do that in a way that's very systematically, continuously, that allows you to do it in a way that makes that desired lifestyle actual, reality. And you'll know those systems and those ways to continue to deliver value and nurturing those prospects and existing clients or future clients, because you've gone through the steps of knowing, what people want, figuring that out and delivering it and practicing with it in that invite stage, so that when you have something that works, people are willing to pay for it, you've kind of worked out the kinks and you've got a nice systematic way to deliver it and keep your audience and your membership and your community nurtured, you can then grow. That's when you can add attraction strategies and really grow either what you have existing and expand that, or build new income strategies, new maybe products, or evolve what you have currently. And that's when the fun starts, right? And there's lots of exciting ways to do that. So we'll talk a little bit more. I'll give you some resources on each of these different stages and how you can learn more about them, including figuring out where you are and how to get started and what to do. So today, like I said, it's part 2. And feel free to jump in anytime, Renee, if you have something to add. Sure. But I'll probably be doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, go just roll right through it.
Yeah, so I have just kind of a list of, and I morphed this over from another training that I had been working on called like the 5 things you should know before you build out your membership. So these are just some questions that I'm finding that I ask a lot of times when I'm helping somebody. And so I thought this is some good stuff to know. And we'll kind of mix this in with the stuff we've been learning before, but things like what type of membership it is. And last week we went into that, like what the types are. And then will there be a Facebook? We can't just assume that every membership is going to have one, though the majority of you probably will. And then what, if you know that, then you can start building it the way that's set up for that. And then what's included, right? What are those instant perks and ongoing perks that we had an episode a while back on that. So knowing what that is, and then getting into getting paid. So what's the cost? Are you going to offer monthly, lifetime access? Are you going to do yearly? Are you going to offer different, periods? And then also, how are you going to get paid? What methods do you want to accept? And all of them come with different, if you know that and making that decision will help you build it out right without having to restart or do different things. So those are kind of just the basics. I'm sure there are others, but feel free to ask questions and we'll monitor those. I'm going to start with basically what we talked about. I believe it was just last week. My days get all like fuzzy and I'm like, was it last week or the week before? Renee talked about membership types. So I'm not going to get too much into detail here because we did this already, right? And I thought I turned off I'm just going to let them load all here because I'm not going to get into them. But if you're curious, what this is, last week, Renee went into all of the different membership types from a low end to a high end and what those different things are. So if you missed that, rewatch it, but determining, okay, from those, which one am I going to pick? And so that's important to know. And then he also offered some ideas about that. And these, again, were talked about in a previous episode. So and we'll link to all of the episodes in the notes afterwards. I'll comment with that so you guys can check those out. But that was last week. And so that was membership ideas. Let me go back a step. And membership types, right? And so these are the things that, based on that, I've kind of figured out, we went over some examples about what those are, decide what yours is going to be. And then decide, okay, based on that, will there be a Facebook group, okay? And so there are some other trainings we did on Facebook group settings. And so I won't get into the particulars, but I do want to talk about a few things as far as relating your Facebook group to your membership. Because a lot of times people think they have to have a new one created or they can't use an existing, or that somehow the Facebook group that you're using with your 22 Social membership is not a regular Facebook group, okay? It is a regular Facebook group. And you really basically have to decide after deciding, yes, I'm going to have one. Is it one that already exists or is it one that you need to create? If it already exists, then start thinking about what your plan is for existing members. And a lot of this we've talked about in previous episodes. I will link to those. There were several. I think at the bottom it says here 74, 91. And episode 125 and 26, I put them together because it was part 1 and part 2 on setting up your membership and your face group and all that. But what are you going to do if you have people that are already in your group? So if you're in that bucket, there's a few things you could do. These are some of the things that I've worked with people on, and we've heard people comment about here, and worked with a lot of members that are doing this. Is option one would be grandfather everyone in. Okay, really kind of depends on how many members are in there, and what you want to do as far as is it going to be too much of a hassle to kick everyone out and start over, or do you have a good base in there that starting over may not be fruitful for you, right? And that would just mean everyone who's in the group stays there, and you just launch, and then going forward, people will have to pay. And one of the benefits I like about that, especially if there's a lot of people already in there, is the people coming in at first glance feel like they're part of a community, that everyone else has said yes to this offer without knowing, whether they got in for free or not. And sometimes that comes up later, like, oh, I heard so-and-so didn't pay or whatever. So you could do something like a founding members or something like that, and have it be a certain time period. A lot of other things that people recommend, or some of the things, are to give a time limit to rejoin. So I had one client who said, okay, this is now going to be a paid group. You guys were in it for free. And you have until this day to say yes or no. One of my clients did that. She sent out a survey. Everyone who was interested, or not, responded. And then there was a certain day where she kicked everyone out and she was launching. And so that may work for you. You could also say, okay, everyone who's in here now, here's a discount link or a code that you can use to join, or maybe not launch your membership or your site publicly yet. Just give the link to the people who are in the group, right? And send that to them with a discounted price, and let them join at an early rate. So just a couple ideas if it already exists. If not, then don't worry. You can create it now. You can create it even before you launch and publish your sales page. Just know that it has to be a closed, it's also called private group. It cannot be public, or we don't recommend that it's public, and it can't be secret or hidden because it won't work with the integration on the back end. So again, the episodes 74, 91, 125, and 126, lots of detail on settings. So this is kind of review on that. But I do mention in here about linking to your business page. You can do that from your page or within the group. Those are also in those episodes that I mentioned, like how to do that. And the reason I like that is you can interact as your page, and you can comment, and then people will, if they want to message you, they're not like DMing you personally, they'll be messaging the page, and a lot of other benefits to that. But there are some recommended settings and things that help you not only get noticed or send traffic to the right sales page, but also help people in the group navigate, and also set you up to make it easier to accept members, remove members. So there's little things in the actual admin settings of the group that you might want to look into. So check out episodes 74, 91, 125, and 126 for different options as far as that goes. Now, this Facebook group, you want to then consider, in addition to, do you already have it, or am I going to build it? You want to also connect it to the app. And so this is an important step because it'll allow you to do things a lot easier down the road. So this is done in the app side, the gate side of your membership app. So your 22 social page where you've built your membership, there on the gate side, and I have a little video or instruction I'll show on the next slide. You're going to switch over into the gate side advanced settings. And there under group access, you'll be able to add in the URL of your group. When you do that, everything on the main content side will be linked through that group button. So I'll show you an example of that next. But that would be the first thing, is go into your settings and put the link to that group once you either have existing or created. And then you're going to want to, I recommend this. A lot of people miss it. There are reasons why you would check this box or uncheck it. Those episodes I referenced kind of go into a little more detail. But if you uncheck the box that says send subscriber to group, then people will go to your main content, which is what you want and what our tutorial kind of shows when we went over the whole workflow. That won't work if you have it checked. So if anyone doesn't know what I mean by that, let me know. I'll pull up some screen sharing and I'll show you. And then in that same section, you can also download the Chrome extension, and I'll show you where that's at. So there's an advanced setting here that I'm not going to get into unless if somebody says, hey, that's my situation, I want to know more about it, comment, and we'll create a separate training on that. But deciding on what your group is going to include, what your membership is going to include, if it's including like access to other things that you've built, especially with 22 Social, like courses, that's when this will come into play. So if your membership includes access, like become a member and you get all of this too, and you've created that with 22 Social, then we can talk about the advanced settings. But most important would be the group access, is connecting that group, and the unchecking the box and connecting to Chrome. It's optional, but there are some examples I went through, live examples, and I showed that on those episodes. But here's where I'm talking about just this one simple step. You don't want to link to your group everywhere that you have to link through it behind a button or anywhere else. You just do it on the front, and you only have to do it here once. So you're going to go up to the gate settings. So switch from main content to app gate and click on advanced settings. And that's going to bring you this little window here. And right there is where you're going to enter in the group URL. And that's the checkbox right underneath. So here's where you enter your group URL, but see that little checkbox right under where it says send the subscriber to your group. If you check that after they pay you, they're going to go to the group where it just takes them to the regular Facebook group and they have to join. They're not going to see like any welcome content or anything unless they go back. So I've given a few examples of this before, but that one I bring up and I mention it now because it happens a lot and it's a little bit confusing. I think Renee, maybe you weren't on a call one time where we did a couple of app audits where a lot of people said that it would be helpful if that was a little bit more clear. So I'm just mentioning it. Okay. A lot of people check that and don't realize that. Yeah. And then so on this very same section here where you go AppGate Advanced Settings, this tab where it's got the group, that's where you can connect that Chrome extension just below that. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see it down there. And a lot of people go, well, where do I get it? Do I have to go to the Chrome store? In your app, just click the blue button and you'll get it. And so if you're not familiar with how the Chrome extension works, I'll briefly go over it a little bit later at the end of the session today of our episode. But we also have some resources that go specifically into the whole thing. But that's a really cool feature. And all of this is done here on the gate side, just basic settings that you will set up based on the answer to some of those questions we asked at the beginning. So the reason you want to use and connect the group on the front is when you use the group button, because so you can choose your button types on the main content. One of the button types is called group. When you select that, it's going to pull from whatever the group was you set up on the front. So it'll automatically do that. So if you change the group or the URL changes, you change it in one place, and everywhere you've used the group button on the main content, it will pull from. So let me show you what I mean by that. On the main content side now, you're going to want to go to content, and then whatever section that you're adding the group, the button to, go to buttons, and you'll have this window you should be familiar with here. And what you select is the action type. So up here where you can choose from the drop down and just choose group. So you don't have to paste your link every single time. Once you do it once on the front, you can add it here. And that's something that just over the last 6 or 7 months of doing those app audits with you guys, I noticed a lot of people just are typing that in. And so maybe that's another thing where this will help clear that up for some of you, that you don't really have to do that everywhere. And it's a nice place where you just set it and forget it and it'll update. And so just below there, there's some helpful text, which I kind of enlarged here, but it'll show you there what the link is. If you're not sure, you want to make sure you're linking to the right group, you'll see it and it'll have your group name there at the bottom. This one says add your group URL here because that's actually the URL that I have in the settings. I don't know if you were on the call, Renee, previously, or the episode where I was using the template and we had like a link to another group in there. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if they're using the template, they're all linking to the wrong group. Mm-hmm. So that's actually the group, just like it's written there, how it is in the template now. But so this is just the same slide before, but with a little bit extra at the bottom. So ignore the top. That's what I was just showing you. Do it at the top. And then lastly, in the main content as well, have some help instructions or some help text. And you can put that in the content area above the button. You could use the footer text below it. You could actually use the button text itself, like in the button, say something. Just know that when you link to your group and you use that group link, it's going to be the same whether they're new or returning. And so mention whatever you want them to do first. And we have a lot of examples of this on the workflow, but I'll show a couple of them here. It's different for everyone. It could be very simple, like in our template where it says, join the group, right? And then below that, in this example, we have some subtext on the button itself that says, it may take 24 to 48 hours to get approved. So think about, like, are you a one-man show, or do you have an admin team? Most of us are just doing this ourselves. So you may want to include something like that. You could do visuals. We've talked about this before, where you have, like, here's what it looks like when you get there, and click the join button, and we have a password. If this doesn't apply to you, then don't worry about it. It could be very simple, click the button. But figure out what it is that your process is, and then make sure that you have some helpful text or some guidance as to letting people know, like, it may take this long, or please allow up to 48 hours for your request to be approved, or please answer all the questions to, speed up your approval. Or if you don't answer the correct, you won't get approved, or this is how we'll know you're an approved member, or something like that. So I took some screenshots of some of our members doing it different ways. This one talks about, if you're new, you'll need to request to join. You'll be prompted for a password. Please answer it. This lets us know you're a member. She not only highlights it, right? She highlights there in a different color, but it's also part of the subtext of the button. So she does it in two places. Now, if you're someone who's going to update this all the time, you may want to change it. And if you're wondering, what the heck, why do I need a password? We talked about this as just one of the ways to make signing up easy. There's lots of benefits to it. It's also just, there's some psychology behind it as well. It's not required. It's just an option. But for those of you who are using it, I just wanted to kind of show different ways that people do that. But basically, it's all about just once they get to the main content after they've paid you, if everything's happening in that Facebook group, you want them to go there. If you don't want to do visuals, or you don't want to do passwords, and you just want to make it very simple, like the dog trainer example, great. Some people like to get really into it and have like a welcome video and explaining everything. These are just different examples of things that people do. But numbers is always good, saying step 1, step 2, step 3, but just some examples. So they're all different ways that people do that, but letting them know, hey, this is what will happen. Everything happens in the group. Please join the group. Once you're there, what they should do, and maybe what they can expect once they're in there. So I had mentioned that we did talk a lot about this before, and I know I went through this really quick, but there's lots of scenarios for different things. And so I go and break that down in some of these episodes, which we'll put direct links to in the comments and the description. So is there a group? What type of membership is it? Is there going to be a Facebook group? And then what are the perks, right? What's included in this membership? And knowing this is going to help you write your sales page copy. So episode, I believe it was 129, which was just a couple episodes ago, like 2 weeks ago, Renee did this training on benefits and perks for your member. And he talked about instant perks and ongoing perks. So instant perks, like, a video download, ebooks, PDFs, things that they can get right away, and letting them know here's what they're going to get right when they join. And also what they're going to continue to get if they stay, or maybe what's coming, kind of a schedule of if you're doing monthly trainings, or what's going on upcoming, if you're going to be bringing in experts. And so Renee talked a lot about different scenarios too, like recipes and the real estate and different things you could do in those scenarios. And I think we had some good comments that week too. So, check that out. There's a lot more detail on that, but knowing this and figuring that out and kind of, and you don't have to offer them all. You pick what's going to work for you. That's going to help you on the front end with your sales page. So know all that before you start building it out. Like, what am I going to do? Is there going to be a Facebook? What's offered, and ultimately, how much does it cost? Because that's going to help you build this section out here, which is the not so much the benefits, but the features, like everything that you get, like the list of items, Q&A calls, access to the Facebook group, all of that. So figuring out what that is, then once you know what that is, list it all out, you have part of your sales page already written in that sense. And then ultimately, what are you going to charge? And that's kind of the last thing you want to figure out. And that comes with its own questions as well. Like, depending on what you're going to choose, are you going to offer multiple options? And then what's your payment process you're going to use, and all of that stuff. So basically the questions like, what's the cost? How many pay periods are offered? What type of payments do you accept? all kind of fall into the same category. So I'm going to talk about those options and show you some examples. And maybe that'll help kind of make a decision here. And I also offer some recommendations of what I feel has worked depending on what your membership is like. So first, how much is it? What are you selling this for? And we talk a lot in some previous episodes on pricing and what works based on your membership type. So is it a low end? Is it a high end? Is it group coaching? Is it like a retainer? So last week, when we talked about membership types and things like that, that's going to help you determine. So once you know what you're going to charge and also how many terms are you going to offer, you can then start figuring out the rest of it. So if you're going to offer more than one option, like monthly and yearly, then figure out what those price points are. Or if you're going to do just one or the other, then what that's going to be, and then just stick with that. But there are other options. I just used a lot of the examples I'm going to show and that I'm using here are monthly and yearly because that's the majority of what people choose or use. But you could do weekly, you could do quarterly, you could do even offer like a one-time lifetime pay once and then always have access. Usually I don't recommend that unless you're just getting started, to get like a seed group. But most people are going to choose either monthly or yearly or offer both. And then once you've decided, okay, I will offer both, knowing that is important and knowing what that price is going to be, you can also then decide, depending on the type of membership, which we've talked about in last week's episode, are you going to do something different for the first price? So it's called like the initial amount versus the recurring. And there's two ways to go. You can go with a lower price the first month, right? And a lot of people will do this like a trial. The first month is only $1 or $2. Check us out. And you can set that to be a certain amount the first month. And then going forward, it'll be whatever your regularly price is. Knowing that ahead of time allows you to not have to try to figure this out later. If you're going to do like a grandfathering everyone in or letting people come in at a discount for a founder's price or something like that, this would be an option where you could have a lower rate now, and then you can manually change it later if you want, but you can have it to be set a certain price every month and no matter when they come in, it's going to be lower because it's the first month is a certain amount, or you can do it the other way. And the other way is, and Renee talked about this in some of the examples last week, is having the first month be higher than the rest. And one of the reasons you may want to do this is that first month includes some type of bonus product or time of yours, like a one-on-one call. So the first month is maybe, $200 or $300 because it includes one-on-one time with you. And then maybe it's only $50 recurring. Or, $197 for the first month, it gets you a one-on-one call. And then it's maybe $25 a month. So that's a common one. Another one is maybe you're setting up some type of, registration fee or setup fee in the beginning. I do have a client that's doing that. Or you're offering some type of bonus product. Another one of my clients is saying, if you, when you join, you get this course or this, whatever that's going to be going away, but you can only get it, with the membership. So they offer that up front. Some people even offer physical products. Like when you, if it's a book club, a group coaching, another author that I know, a member of ours that's an author, she sends them some writing materials and some little tchotchkes and, logo gear with a book, and she signs it and does all this as a nice bonus. And they get all that when they first join. So think about like what your membership is about and how you want to set that up. And then I'm going to go over some different examples of, people using that and maybe kind of why they use it and maybe give you some ideas, but definitely let us know and ask in the questions too, in the comments. So will price increase later or over time? So think about that too. If you're going to be thinking, well, I want to, ultimately I'd like to charge this month, but I'm not quite sure. I'm going to toy around with different prices, right? If you're thinking you're not quite sure what you're going to charge, or that you eventually want to charge a certain amount, but you want to try, maybe I should charge more, or maybe I should charge less. I highly urge you to start low. If you take anything away from here on pricing and changing pricing, this is because you will then, whatever someone pays recurring, once they pay, unless they cancel, that's what they're always going to pay. So if somebody's paying $10 a month now because you're launching, and later you want to charge $27 or $37 a month, everyone who jumps in now and knows that, maybe throw that as part of your sales pitch on the gate, they're paying $10 a month, and they're like wrapped into that, right? So they'll get that recurring unless they cancel. If they cancel and come back, then it's whatever the regular price is. And this is helps you retain, it's like with retention and that whole, discouraging cancellations, FOMO that we've talked about here in the past, the fear of missing out. It's much easier to do it low than to go the other way and decide, I think what I'm going to do is, $40 wasn't working, or I'm not going to be able to commit as much as I was going to. And so since I'm doing less, I'm going to drop the price. You don't want to have to deal, especially if you have existing members, you'll have to manually go in and like credit them, or they may get upset because it won't change. Whatever someone's paying, they're kind of wrapped into. And that's the whole idea behind start low. Lots of benefits to that, mainly the retention and having people. I think I have someone a long time ago, I did like a $5 a month that eventually went up. I think it ended up being like 27 was the regular price, but it slowly went up over time. And I still have one person left from like 3 years or 4 years ago that's paying $5 a month. And she like never is on any of the calls, but I think it's like she doesn't want to lose the $5. So, there's that whole mentality. My other tip for this, if you're going this route where you're like, I'm trying to decide what my pricing is going to be, is to not use like, this price is only good through the end of August, or it'll go up on a certain day, or, for 24 hours only, because you have no idea if you're going to get a huge influx or no one's going to buy, right? Everyone's different depending on how well do you have a warm market? Are you doing any, what type of content marketing you've done and all of that. So I always say, just use like, if you're going to do that, do limited time for a limited time, or hurry and soon, but don't say like when, and then you can decide, all right, if I get this many people at this price, I'm definitely going to change it. And so that's something you can kind of, manage on your own. All right. Let's look at the next one here. Payment. Okay. So we offer two options. Unless there's something I don't know about, Renee. PayPal and Stripe. You could also do both. Yeah. So I like Stripe, but I was always about PayPal, right? And I was like, I don't care about Stripe. It's too much to switch. But there are some differences. There are some similarities, but decide. You can do both. I recommend picking one or the other. But with PayPal, just know that it's going to require them to have a PayPal account. It's not like single pay items where they don't have to log into PayPal just to pay. It's just a processor. With a subscription, a recurring subscription, it's through their PayPal account. So they have to have a PayPal account. It doesn't cost them anything, but they have to have one. So think about that. Maybe people don't want to do that. Maybe, most people have PayPal, so it's okay. This is something that may or may not be an issue for you, but it has been an issue for me and was one of the reasons why I started switching over to Stripe. In some cases, it can create multiple contacts in the CRM. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Renee, or if anyone else has brought this up, but sometimes you'll have them in there, like in your ActiveCampaign or your, MailChimp, with two different emails, the one they sign up with and they register with, and then their PayPal email kind of takes over when they enroll. And with Stripe, it's just one email. So that was a big benefit for me. But, if you're not using a CRM or you haven't noticed to be a problem, this may not be an issue. With PayPal, people just go into PayPal and they can cancel from within there. And you could just say, here are the instructions to cancel through PayPal. And you don't have to do anything manually, but they'll have to do it from their PayPal account if they want to do it. You could also do it for them. But those are some of the things that are different or similar in comparison to Stripe. The fee is actually the same. So that percentage fee that PayPal takes is the same exact amount that Stripe takes, last I checked anyway. So I don't think there's a difference there. One of the things about Stripe, if you're going to go that route, yeah.
And the fees may be different in different countries. So double check what the fee is in your country, because I know PayPal and Stripe do have varying fees. If you're like and maybe if you're in the UK or Australia, they will vary a little.
Yeah, and I think even PayPal will have something like if it's a bank, some banks, like if they're doing a bank draft, sometimes their bank will be a little bit different. I've noticed that rarely. I'd say like less than 2% of the time I've seen that.
And it's not a big deal if you actually get a merchant account, which, we've had one for 8 years, a direct, where you got to qualify for to do like PayPal or Stripe or if you're doing business, it's just normal because it's more of a hassle for them to collect fees in certain situations than others. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So okay. So maybe I'll adjust that for the next time we do that. That's a good point. I hadn't realized that. Yeah, there are other ways to, currencies and things like that. But for the most part, they're very similar. It's not like I'm going to pick one over the other because of price. In that sense, they're very similar. But Stripe, if you use Stripe, and you don't even have to say Stripe, you're basically it's a credit card or debit card processor. They don't need to have an account. So and this is something you may discover later, like after you've tested the waters and you went, I'm going with PayPal because I have it already. I know how to use it. I don't want to deal with Stripe. That's the route I went. And I've recommended my clients do as well. But in some cases, after a while, someone's saying, do I have to have PayPal? That comes up a lot in one of my clients, but not the others. For that particular person, I said, maybe we should consider switching to Stripe. So it really just depends. You kind of have to figure out. But I say just pick one. The members will pay with their debit or credit. They're actually just put in their credit card or debit card information. They don't need an account. And whatever email they register with and they confirm with when they all on the same page where they enter payment, it's all one person. So I like that for, managing on my CRM on that end. And members can adjust their billing, like change the card they're using. If their card's going to be canceling soon, expiring soon, they can switch that, and they can do all that from within the app. There's a link to that in the app, same as there is for like a contact button or entering the group or updating your account. I believe it's called subscription or billing or something. Yeah, billing, the billing tab, and they can just click on that and from within the app and make all the changes. So I really like that. That's easy. That's simple. And again, the fee is the same or similar to PayPal. Now, you can use both, but I don't recommend it only because there's lots of reasons why it get complicated. I've got clients that are using both and they have very good reasons as to why they need both, right? And that's fine. Just know that if you're going to be offering monthly and yearly, each of those are a button, right? And now you've got PayPal and Stripe. So now you've just used up all 4 of your buttons, which if that's all you need, that's fine, but just something to think about. So these are the kinds of things that you just want to think about before you start building it out. If you offer both, then people can choose. They can pay with PayPal or with credit card. And the other thing is you may need to create more work for yourself. Like that's what I call it. I have a cancellation policy and I have everything that I did with PayPal for years. When I switched to Stripe, I had to update all of that. And the Stripe tutorial that I did for you guys, which we'll also link to, in the last section, I talk about all the places if you're switching, if you're switching from PayPal to Stripe, watch this. If not, you can skip it. Those of you who are in the watch this category, I kind of go over these are the different things you'll have to do. You'll need to create that or environment like that if you want to provide that support. Totally optional, but you'd have to do it for both. So those are one of the reasons why I probably wouldn't. My recommendation would be to just pick one. So I'm not going to I do prefer Stripe, but I understand why somebody would want PayPal. Pick one. You can always set up both on the back end. You could go in and say, set up all your buttons for everything, but on the gate, just put one, make it really simple. Like this is my main one, everyone. And then if somebody then later says, can I pay with PayPal? Then you can say, oh, you know what? I do have PayPal as an option, and you give them the link, right, for that. But pick one and just start. Don't let that hold you up. You can always change it later because you don't know what that demand is going to be. It's been different for so many people where they think, oh, everybody wants PayPal, and then nobody had asked for it, and their membership's been going for a year now, and they're like, oh, I'm glad I didn't deal with all that. Nobody's asked for it. But if the demand is high for one or the other, you can then come back and revisit it. But just pick one and start. Everything's kind of easier to track and manage all over the place with just one. If you're asking me personally, I'm going to go with Stripe for some of the reasons I've mentioned today, but ultimately just pick one. So here's a few examples of some that I've shown in the past, but I think they've made some changes since then. So I took some recent screenshots. FitRight, I've used them in a few trainings. The episode 74, the first one I did on Facebook group memberships, I used FitRights entirely. So that may be familiar to some of you. But she only chose monthly. She's not offering monthly or yearly. And she uses PayPal only. and occasionally offers discounts and like promotions. And so when she does that, she'll send out a discount code for $1 off, whatever. But her $19 a month is $19 a month for the initial and the recurring. And every once in a while, she'll create a discount code for a promotion, or she has some like evergreen ones for like if they take her live classes, they get the first month for $1. And that's something she sends out in a newsletter that only those people get. She also has something for health professionals. They get a discounted rate, but they're using a code. So things like that, you know, free month for contest winners. But she does all that on the back end, but case by case, but generally very simple in these settings. One option, monthly, it's PayPal, and it's $19 a month all the way around. First month, second month, like everything. So that's very simple. The one here on the right, this is someone who offers both, okay? Offers the annual at a huge discount, a very significant discount. You can save 50% if you go annually. Now you may be thinking, how do I know which one, you know, do I do that? I had a client who said, well, I have to offer 50% off because that's what everybody does. And I said, well, I don't. And the reason I don't, and the reason why some other of my members don't, is because you have to decide what is it you need. Do you need monthly recurring income to kind of get started? Are you expecting a big, huge launch? You know, do you have a big list? Are you doing some type of, you know, promotion? So those things will all apply to everyone differently. But this person uses only.
And let me throw my 2 cents on there, Monica.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm gonna say this. Typically, your membership, your monthly membership, like a $19 monthly membership, it's an intro to your higher ticket program. Mm-hmm. So you may be selling one-on-one coaching for like $1,000 a month, or some other thing that's a little higher. So again, with Monica's saying, it's not meant to be.
You're cutting.
Really good monthly recurring, but. Wow, I gotta see.
I missed that. Yeah, it's not meant to be what? What was that?
It's not meant to be a huge chunk of money up front.
Right.
If you're attaching a high ticket offer as an upsell down the road.
Right. And so this is why knowing what your type is, like, and watching last week, figuring that out first will help you make all the decisions for the different options we're showing you today. So that's why it's good to know all of these things before you start, because based on those answers to, you know, what type you're going to do, or what type of other high-end offers are maybe included, or, you know, what's the point of the membership? Is it something where in there that's going to be your pool of leads for a higher, you know, maybe some high-ticket items, one-on-one, you know, maybe very significant or small group coaching, intimate setting. So yeah, very good. It's very good points to add there. And this is for Virtual Insiders. He's calling it foundational members. So he's doing that. He doesn't want to charge $37 forever. I think he said eventually it'll be $47 or $57. And I said, well, start with what's the lowest amount you're willing to sell it at? That's what you want to start at, because you don't want to decide later that it was $47. And, you know, maybe I should have done $37, because everyone who was paying $47 is now like, hey, wait a minute. So that's just one of those examples. This one and I thought I had this, I must have turned off the animation on it, but you can see it from here. On the left side here, this is a little bit different situation because they vet their members. So they have kind of an application process. But the reason I chose it for today is because they offer what's called a registration fee. So this is an example of someone who isn't maybe including a course or a one-on-one call with the first month or the first year. But they have a registration fee. There's some admin things they need to do because they're vetting their membership. It's a different type of membership. And so that initial amount is going to be, for example, the $108 a year. The first year is $144. It includes the $36. The first month, if they go the $18 a month route, is $54 or something like that. So this is just an example. They're also I think they're only using PayPal, but they're also doing 50% off if someone goes yearly. And I'd say probably 90 to 95% of their members choose the yearly option. Those who choose monthly do it for 1 month and then they switch to yearly. So they're doing pretty good with that method. And then on the right here, this is not a huge discount for yearly. She's just doing a small discount because she isn't quite sure what her members, she's not quite sure what they're going to want to do. And so I said, well, just, this was a client who said, I'm going to do this because somebody said to. And I was like, well, let's talk about what your audience is and what you're providing. And based on that, we were able to come up with a pricing plan. So knowing the answer to those questions and what you're offering will allow you to decide, am I going to have one option, two options? Am I going to use Stripe, PayPal, or both? Is my first month going to be different than the recurring or the first year? Am I going to offer something that's a lifetime access or anything like that? Knowing that will help you to kind of figure that out. So it's a little bit more on the technical side than some of the other training that we were doing before, but I wanted to just kind of go that route and let you know that all of those concepts, this is how they apply when you actually get into building it, if that makes sense. So I don't know if there were questions. I don't see any here on my end. Maybe I was kind of talking really fast. Look back. Chat. What about chat?
Natalie. Most people aren't using chat right now. Facebook, I'll take.
Okay.
Working ahead, but so that's not something that you can do right now. Natalie, and I'm sure if I'm saying your name right, I hope. So I don't know if that answers the question. That's probably not the answer you're looking for, but essentially that's what's going on right now. But we'll keep you guys posted if and when that changes. But Facebook really pulled the reins back on Messenger about a year ago or so, actually, ish.
Oh, I think I hit that there. All right. Look at this over here. I'm going to put this back. Where'd my cursor go? All right. So, if you're going to connect this, you said you do need a group, right? Whether it's existing or it's something that you're going to create today. But first and foremost, to use it all, to get it all set up, to have your membership site and use the software for it, you just need a Facebook page. And hopefully you have one. If not, they're easy to set up, easy to create, very simple. And basically having the page is what allows you to connect the software, the application to your business page. So, with that, you're going to be then creating your sites and having your offer pages, landing pages, apps, whatever you want to call them. They're going to live on the internet. They don't necessarily need to live on your Facebook page. You just need a Facebook page to connect it. Having that, then you build your business there. And build your offers and your members areas, or whatever you call them. I like to call my membership site my members area, using the 22 Social software, which connects very nicely with Facebook, and you can link to it everywhere. So anywhere with an internet connection will be able to access it. You share it on Facebook. It looks really nice. You connect it to your call to action buttons, or even in like your email signatures, or on every post that you make, whether it's on Facebook or somewhere else, anywhere on the internet, Instagram, your link trees, your bios, and all of that, link them to your Smart Link, which is a link you get when you create your promo page or app page here. So when you first connect your account and you install your first app, it will look something like this. You're going to want to customize it and create something unique. And there's lots of different things you can create. Today, we talked about memberships, but people use it for all kinds of things. Memberships is probably the most popular way used for the software. But once you install it and then you set it all up with your, drag and drop with your colors and your buttons and your text and all kinds of stuff that you add to it. When you hit publish, you'll have a link that you can share. It's a mobile ready link. We call it the Smart Link. It'll detect where the user is visiting from and give them the most optimized view, tablets, phones, desktops, with that Smart Link. So get in the habit of using that. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll point you in just the direction of some really great training we've done on that. But then once you have this installed, what are you creating it for? What are you building? Lots of things you could build with it. A lot of our users are using it to restrict access in exchange for either contact, right, for lead generation, or income for if you're selling a product, you're selling a one-time or selling multiple. So some of the free ways to restrict content, and some of our lead generation options would be a free download, a free video, register for a webinar, some type of sweepstakes or contents, so that you can build leads that are related to your higher offers or your paid offers, like your membership or a course or something like that. Speaking of courses, that would be a one-time payment, something you sell in exchange for like $97, access the course, and you have a modeled video course, and you can sell that. Or your time, right? Book a call with me, $100 for 30 minutes or whatever it is you offer. Or you could sell like an online live class, masterclass webinar. That's a one-time payment. Most popular choice for people is, and to really realize that dream and build that dream lifestyle, is to be able to be bringing in recurring income into your business, recurring revenue, so that you can live that desired lifestyle. And so a lot of people are using that for memberships. And so you set it up to do it with a recurring subscription and Netflix your business. So here's a kind of an overview look at, here's an example of what, if you shared that link, what it would look like on Facebook. You're familiar with those posts you see in the newsfeed. They will see a nice preview of what you're offering. If they click on it, they are taken to your, what you created, right? Your page there. And the front end, we call that the gate. This is where they're going to learn about your offer, your membership, your course, whatever it is, and sign up or enroll or register. And so they're going to click a button and confirm their Facebook identity. They're logging in with Facebook. One click of the continue button and they are in. They're going to then have access to your members area, your free download, whatever it is you've created on the back end. They're going to be able to scroll through and access or consume all of that. And, like we talked about today, this is where you'd say, great, thanks for joining. Click here to join the group, or here's where you can download the whatever it is you're offering, or book your coaching and all of that. You're also collecting this lead. So you're collecting their Facebook profile with their name and their email and all of that on the back end. And you can easily manage your, for memberships, it's great. They're all in there, but all of your contacts, all of your registrations, everyone that's gone through, we call this the SRM, the Social Relationship Manager. And on the back end there is everyone. And you see this as your admin view. At the top, you'll click a button for SRM and everyone's there. And you can click on the little I info button there and it'll give you some more information about them. It can track, leaderboards for contests, who's referred who, if you're doing affiliates and all that kind of stuff. So it's really nice, especially for memberships. You can see how much people are paying, are they monthly or yearly, what their term is, are they active, inactive. You can even click a button and it'll take you straight to their PayPal profile. If you're using Stripe, this will be the S Stripe logo and it'll tell you more about them and their Stripe subscription or payment there. So really easy, makes it nice to manage your members, view your members, track all that. But it works really well when you're working with a Facebook group, because oftentimes, especially for those who don't use 22 Social, when I run into people and they're dealing with, one of the biggest things they're dealing with is that whole, they paid through a payment processor with like their business account, but they want to join my Facebook group with another name. This acts as the glue between the payment processor and the actual Facebook profile that they registered with. So that's really nice. Plus that cool 22 Social Connect Chrome extension that I talked a little bit briefly earlier today, but we have a lot of resources on this. But in a nutshell, that's something that it's a free extension. You connect that, install it, and you set up your colors for active, inactive, or unknown, unfound, not found, right? And this is really cool for managing members too. It's an extra added, in addition to being, 22 Social being the glue between the processor and the Facebook profile, this color codes it for you. So it's like even easier. And I love using this. It'll tell me, I can just look at a color of a name. It'll say, oh, this person is a member. I could let them in. They've paid. Oh, this person has canceled. They've gone from green to red. Renee's canceled here in this picture. So it's time to kick them out the group. Yep. I love using that. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite things is that cool Chrome extension. So thank you, Renee, because I know you worked hard to build that thing, and it saves me so much time, and I'm able to see things like this. And I know what Will's going through, and a lot of our customers, when they're like, I love it, I'm getting, I just got my first customer, I just launched and I got 10 new members just this morning. And so we love hearing stories like that, right? We love showcasing that. But having this in place and planning it all out and having a simple tools like this that allow you to really live that desired lifestyle. Waking up to messages like this is awesome. And this is just, one of Will's memberships, right? Or one of his products, his offers. You can connect for every business page. You can connect up to 15. And I think our standard plan is, what's 15 times 3, 45, 3 business pages. If you have that many, I don't know that people that are using that many, but the ideas can go on and on for what you want to create. But having something in place, a kind of a framework of like what I need to do and what is my first step and what the answers. That's kind of what today was about. I wanted to make sure that based on all of this really good content that, especially Renee, you've been putting out lately. Now that I've kind of figured that out, I'm ready to really get this thing built, and having the answer to those questions really helps. And then remember how earlier I talked about the little triangle where you start with the dream and the different foundational blocks for your dream? Well, everyone's on a different place there. So figuring out where that is for you, like what's my first step? What's my next step? Maybe I'm already earning. I'm kind of in the middle here. You can figure that out by taking our Dream Builder self-assessment. It's a free self-assessment. It's designed to give you a customized action plan based on where you are on that entrepreneurial journey, because everyone's in a different place. So very simple, 22us.com/dream. You'll be able to check it out there. Take that assessment, kind of figure out, where you are so that you know what your next best step or your first right step is to really get this dream get that realized. While you're there, you'll also be able to check out the bundle. It's an awesome Dream Builder bundle that really basically puts the fire into committing to your dream and saving money at the same time. So these concepts that we talked about, the dream, the delivery, inviting, nurturing, and growing and scaling your business, there's a course we've built around that, the Dream Builder Blueprint course, that goes into each of those stages and different aspects that you could take. It's a module course that we combine with a year of the membership software. So this bundle deal at an amazing price, you can check out at 22us.com/dream. That way you're learning and earning at the same time. You're implementing everything that you're learning in the course, you're implementing with the software, and you're seeing those great results. So on top of that, we also want to give this away. We do this every week. We give this bundle away, a free year 22 Social, the Dream Builder course. And our winner this week is, drum roll, Keva Hampton, all the way on the other side of the country, Jacksonville, Florida. Yay! Congratulations, Keva. You just won the Dream Builder bundle. So you get a year 22 Social and the Blueprint course completely free on us. Just message our page and we'll get you all hooked up with those details. If you're like, okay, I want to increase my chances to win, or you have questions that weren't answered to here yet, or you want to check out some of our past episodes or anything like that, that same link, 22us.com/dream. There's lots of different help and support there, including the link to our group. So there's a lot in there as well. So check that out. So we may not always get to all of your questions while we're live. I am really surprised that I did that whole thing in under an hour, because when Renee lets me do these by myself, we always go over an hour. But yeah, all right.
There's a lot to cover.
Yeah, and Natalie was saying that it was cutting off, but I'll go back and take a listen to it, because I think whenever you were, I still could make out what you were saying. But maybe that's just me, because I know what you're going to say. Hey, Posadas Ricardo's here. All right. Anything else, Renee?
I think we're good.
All right. Yeah, I know I don't have
we're going to head out.
Camera here. Yep, we can head out. Let's just, how do I turn this? There we go. Let's set this here. Say goodbye. Bring us back. Hey, everybody. All right, guys. Till next week. See you guys. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.